your dad's the most famous country singer ever. And I'm like, well, certainly that's not true.
All new this week on the debut episode of Kurt's Country, News Nation is backstage at the Bottle and Cork in Dewey Beach, Delaware, sitting down exclusively with country music superstar Justin Moore, talking fame, family, and the 3 collaborations he's recorded for his next album.
I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but we're breaking it here.
Welcome back to Kurt's Country here on News Nation. We are in Dewey Beach, Delaware, where for 4 years now, we have been coming here every summer for Justin Moore at Bottle and Cork. And it started as a one-night thing, and it was so successful it became a two-night thing. And I'd say the first time I heard you were playing out here, I had never been to Dewey Beach, Delaware. I had no idea what to think, but it didn't on the surface seem like this will be a Justin Moore crowd.
No. And I was the same way, and when, if you're from the South in particular,
yep.
You think Delaware, I don't know, and but it's great, man. What a great town. The people are amazing.
Yeah.
And they're huge country music fans.
I think it's one of the best crowds I see all year, honestly.
It really. This is the only place of this size,
yep.
I would say, in a non-boastful way that we play all year.
Right.
But it's just so much fun. We've had a blast, and it's really fun for like our drivers, for example. Like they can like chill out and have a day off and
yep.
drink a beer, which they never get
right.
a chance to do because they're driving and they got to be prepared for all that. And it's great seafood, and the people are great. And so we turned it into 2 nights, and we've had a conversation about turning it into 3 or 4 nights in the future. And so, I mean, that's yet to be determined whether we do that, but it's awesome, man. It's been a blast, and it's kind of turned into I said it on stage last night, which you heard, but it's kind of turned into a family reunion. You see a lot of familiar faces that they make this a trip every year, and so
I mean, even for me personally,
cool.
like this is one of those things. Like this is like the guys trip I do every year.
Yeah.
With Joey and Don and usually our boy Reedy. It is truly one of the highlights of my year to go out.
Which is so weird because I mean you've come to a lot of our shows because we're quite, just to be honest, I mean we're really good friends and text a lot, and I mean you come see us in.
Oh, I've seen arenas
different
and
places.
All kinds of venues.
I don't know why this place is really special, but it is.
Yeah.
So
we make it the Justin Moore 3-day, 4-day festival here. Take over.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe we do it. Maybe we actually do it on the beach or something.
I mean,
next time.
It is one of the most unique. I mean, I've gotten to see you in so many different venues now over the years, but there is something special about this place and this crowd.
Yeah, it is. It's the energy, the vibe. It's something you really can't explain until you experience it. So if anybody out there is looking for a unique place to come see us play, I would certainly suggest this.
Well, and it says so much, because anyone who knows you knows, getting you to leave Arkansas is a bit of a chore. So to get you to commit to going to a place on the other side of America and to do it for 2 days, like that says a lot about the people here, the fans.
Yeah, I think you said it best when you ended with the fans. I mean, and I've talked about already how the people, and it's the fans, but it's also the people in this town. Like, I went to eat oysters earlier, and all the people were great. Like, not only the patrons, but the waitresses and serving staff and they were all great.
Yeah.
And so that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to believe, you've been doing this. I mean, it's been a decade since you won the ACM New Male Artist of the Year.
Crazy.
Which even then, it's like you weren't even that new when you won it. But
I had been out at that point. This is our 17th year to do it. So I guess if that was 10 years ago, 17 years, which is hard. I give you a funny story. So we were down at the beach, my wife, myself, and my kids, and we have a place in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got one of the things, I don't know what it's called. We got one of the things where you go, hey, Siri, play blah, 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 whatever. And you can do it from the pool where we have it set up and all that. And I go, play 90s country. And my kids go, are you on 90s country? I go, I'm not on 90s country. They go, are you on 2000s country? I go, yeah, I am actually. So we've had hits in 3 decades, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I only say that because it made my kids laugh. They're like, "Oh, Dad, you're so old." And but it's crazy,
Well, I mean, I think one of the reasons why you've had, I think, such longevity. I always say you are one of the most, I think, underappreciated as far as the industry side.
Well,
of things
thank you.
concerned.
I appreciate you saying that.
It actually drives me nuts because when you look at your catalog, you got 12 number ones, hopefully knocking on the door of number 13 with "This Is My Dirt." Your songs and your music, I think, are incredibly relatable, and they really capture just the everyday American experience. And right now, we live at a time where it's super polarized, and this is not to get political, but people are just in their, it's a very divisive time.
Yeah.
And yet, when you put on a Justin Moore song, no matter where you are, where you live, you can connect to it.
Well, I hope so, man. I mean, it's I never sit down to write a song for it to. I personally, some artists do, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Just some do to make a political statement.
Right.
They Springsteen or this guy or that guy or that girl, or they do that. Nothing wrong with it. Hey, do what you want with your music. That's your creative outlet. I just don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't shy away from who I am or my beliefs.
Right.
And I think if you listen to my music, it's pretty obvious the way I vote. And but here's the other thing. I have a lot of friends who vote like me.
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends that don't.
Yep.
I mentioned how good of friends we are, and I hope you would agree. I consider us really good friends.
Absolutely.
And have been for 10
I was going to say, we've been doing this for almost
maybe
a decade now.
And we have different beliefs on things. Has that ever had anything to do with our friendship at all? No. And that, to me, is what we're lacking.
Yeah. Well, I think
and I'm not trying to be political either, but since it was brought up, like we're really good friends. Just you can have conversations, and you and I have had conversations where we don't agree.
Right.
But we're still nice to each other, and we still cheers and drink a beer together.
Well,
and if we could all do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's because we are friends that we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
And know that we are both coming from a good place. We are both good people. I'm willing to hear you out. And we're not just educated. We're not just talking out of our ass.
Positions.
We actually come to it with I wish at times we could just record our conversations like that.
Oh,
This is how we should talk about it, people.
That would be
a good podcast.
That'd be a good podcast.
Tell JR to get that one worked on.
That'd be a good podcast.
It's because one of my favorite songs, I think that kind of captures this too, is the one you did with Riley. Why can't you and me?
Yeah.
That is the spirit in which I think that a Justin Moore show is really about. Wherever you come from, whatever you do, you're all welcome here.
Right.
enjoy the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only things that I can't maybe budge on, or the only thing maybe, is not supporting our military
All right.
and our service men and women. That I don't understand.
Which you talk about before you do, for the ones who didn't make it back home.
Yeah.
Like you literally say that to the audience.
That
at
I
your
don't
show.
understand. But hey, and other people have different opinions, and okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I can respect a lot of different opinions than mine. That one I can't, but
They don't bring that to a Justin Moore show. That's all.
but
they have,
everything
right?
else I'm good on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting too because you are, you're a father of 4, I think, right?
4, yeah.
And so you are in this position of being a role model, of instilling values in the next generation of people who are gonna live in our world.
Which none of us signed up for, by the way, other than the parent side. I didn't sign up to be a role model to anybody watching this or their children, but I realize that comes along with the position. And I'm not perfect. Certainly, no one is. There was one perfect person, Jesus Christ. But I try to do the best I can do, but I'm flawed just like everybody watching this, and you and him and him and him, and but I try to be the best I can for my kids first and foremost, and try to teach them what I believe is right and wrong, and yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir,
right.
No sir, open doors for ladies, and all that kind of stuff, and I try to do that on stage and during interviews, and I don't always knock it out of the park, but I always try.
What's it like being a girl dad? Yeah, but you got 3 girls, man.
I do 14, 13, 10,
Yeah.
and then my son is 7. It's awesome. I love it. Everybody thinks that I was pushing for another kid to get a boy. That was all my wife, by the way. She was wanting a boy. And I mean, obviously I'm glad we have him now. I couldn't imagine my life without him. But I was really good with being a girl dad.
Yeah.
I mean, and whether they did or didn't, but they ended up doing it. They still do, basketball, softball. I mean, my oldest daughter played football. I mean, they hunt with me, they fish with me. So I was like, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. Right. And even if they didn't do all those things,
sure,
that would have been fine too. But they ended up loving it and kind of being tomboys, if you will. And but it's awesome, man. It's awesome being a girl dad. And it's now
14
and 13. That's a little. You have to deal with some things if you catch my drift. I mean, that I don't quite understand as well as my wife, and I'll even ask my wife. I'm like, "What is wrong with her?"
Yep.
And she'll go. I'm like, "Oh, okay, got it. All right, whatever."
I mean, talk about being a tomboy, but you're also getting to that point where you're starting to see the world a little differently if you're 14, and for you, just being who you are, I can't imagine what it'd be like bringing home some poor 13, 14-year-old boy to your house.
Yeah, so it's funny because we were at the beach, like I said earlier, and my daughter has had a boyfriend for my oldest daughter, Ella, for a little bit over a year, and he's a good kid, really good kid. I like him a lot. But I'd like him to date somebody else's daughter, not mine. But I went to school with his mom, and they live like a mile from us. I really love his dad, and we have a lot of things in common. I mean, we really get along and hang out, and they happen to be coming to the beach at the same time as us. Imagine that.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how that happened. But so he comes to the house, the kid, the boyfriend, and the parents go somewhere for an hour or two, something like that. So I don't know how arm wrestling came up. I really didn't bring it up. And so Ella, my daughter, and him arm wrestle. He's left-handed, she's right-handed. So I'm like, well, y'all got to alternate. Go right-handed, go left-handed. She whipped him like 8 times in a row. Just boom, 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 boom. Which she's pretty stout.
Yeah.
I mean, she, you know. And I'm like, man, it's a technique I taught her a while ago, and it's not you. I was trying to make him feel better.
Right.
And I go, here, I'll show you. So we get down on the coffee table, and I go, it's do this and blah, blah, whatever I say. And I just slam him. And I go, all right, so now you do that to me, whatever I just said to him. And I go, no, like really try to beat me. Like go ahead and really try to beat me. He goes, Mr. Justin, I really am trying to beat you. And I'm still doing this. I go, and of course I'm going like,
yeah,
yes,
that's right.
But he really is a good kid. So
do your kids like realize that you are like this country music superstar? Thousands of people pay money to come see you perform, or do they just not?
Well,
not care?
I mean, I don't know that I'm a superstar, but I
I'm going to say
appreciate
that 12
saying
number
that,
ones, you're a superstar in my book.
But thank you. I think my oldest, I'd say my girls, even my 10-year-old, I think they understand it. I mean, especially the older two, but I even think my youngest understands it. I don't know that they love it.
Yeah.
You know, because we'll be at Cracker Barrel or something, you know, eating breakfast, and somebody will come up. And
Sure.
I'm, you know, talking to one of them about this, and they're like, Dad, you know everybody. I'm like, yeah, kind of, I guess, but you know, but I mean, it's part of the job, and I hate if they take that as a negative, and I try to make that the least amount or the least thing in their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want them to be affected by my decision to do this at all. Clearly, they are going to be at moments like that, but I try to diminish that.
Yeah.
You know, and but I think they're embarrassed by it more than anything, to be honest with you. I think they're like, oh, Dad, you know, like my son, he don't really know, and he'll go to school. And my older girls, I've coached all their friends for 10 years now, you know, in softball and basketball. And so now they're like, Coach JM, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, so they don't even, whatever. But like my son, he don't really get that yet. So they're like he said the other day, he goes, Dad, my friend goes, hey, your dad's the most famous country singer ever. And I'm like, well, certainly that's not true, son. But I go, here's my response to those types of things. I always say, you just tell them I'm your dad.
Yeah.
I'm your dad. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm Dad. And so I just try to keep reiterating that.
Well, I think it'll be interesting as they get older and as you continue to grow your career. You know, I think they'll have a much more of an appreciation for what this life is and the songs that you have and the connection you have with the audience. It's really what you're doing is you are bringing stories and joy to so many people. I think that's what one of the most rewarding things is about being an artist. And you have songs like "This Is My Dirt." Again, relatable. This is a story that's about your family lineage in a lot of ways. That's setting the stage for this next project that you're going to have coming out later this year.
Yeah, it's I mean, to really be completely honest, it's selfish of me because I get to do what I do. My family don't really get to experience it, especially on that level. Like when I'm on stage tonight, for example, what I'm going to experience, they'll never get to experience. And I'm thankful to them that they allow me that opportunity.
Yeah.
And they never get the praise, which they should. And that goes for every artist.
Yeah.
Especially our spouses, because they really take on a lot of responsibility that nobody would even, you probably do because you're closer to it, but nobody would ever understand. You know, they're the real rock stars, to be honest with you. But, you know, we had a conversation, you know, it was because I've got 2 teenagers, and we had a conversation the other day at home about, hey, look, you guys have to give up a lot, and I have to give up a lot, and Mom, for me to do this, but you guys have opportunities to go do things and in different capacities than other kids that y'all go to school with never get a chance to do. And so there's a balance, you know, you got to give this up to get this, but it you know, it's tough on kids, man. You know, like I hate leaving. When I left the other day, and I'm hugging them for like 5 minutes apiece. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But it's 4 days.
Right.
I mean, it's, you know, it's not like, you know, that's why I respect. That's another reason why I respect our servicemen and women that go over to get shot at.
Yep.
For a year plus.
Long tour duty.
And I'm doing this and crying over 4 days.
Yeah.
And I'm getting people clapping and praising me and all that. So you got to keep it, you know, in perspective.
Yeah. Well, in that time away, like, I think that's one of the reasons why your road family becomes an extension of your,
absolutely.
family. Like, and we talked to JR earlier.
Yeah.
And he said, like, you know, you spend more time, especially at different points in your career, with your band, with your road crew, sometimes than even your own family. And you have a really tight-knit group of people too, which is why, you know, it's been so fun to see JR kind of, you know, get this momentum behind him. And you've been really supportive. There are a lot of folks in this business, and you know this, who have egos, who would not be okay with one of their guys, you know, having that kind of success. And you've been nothing but supportive of it.
I love it, man. I've always been taught by my parents and by my manager, quite honestly, to incentivize people, prop them up. It just makes you look better. Yeah. I mean, I'm not that I'm doing it for that reason, but like, what's bad about that?
Yeah.
Like, help people improve their lives. Like, why else are we here?
Yeah.
I'm not here to, like, I want to be the biggest star in the world, but whatever. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be George Strait. I'm too old at this point. Somebody else about 25 can do that. But like, help people, earn money and improve their lives. And I don't ask them how they vote before I hire them or before I give them a raise.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. I just want you to do you and be good. I just had a merch guy that took a different job, and I loved him, and I hated to lose him. But he came to talk to me. I go, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go, man. It's a better opportunity. You got to go.
Yep.
I don't want to say that, but I had, like, who would I be as a person if I didn't do that?
Yeah.
You know.
That says a lot about you just as a man. You know, and again, it's one of the reasons why I have this infinite amount of respect for you just as a human being. You know, if I just met you and you weren't Justin Moore up here, I'd still want to be your friend.
Right. Well, I appreciate you saying that, and likewise.
You know, last thing before, I know you got to get ready to hit the stage here soon. You know, You talked last night. You got a project coming out soon this year. You got some amazing collaborations with Blake Shelton, Randy Houser. You're going out. You guys are co-headlining a tour later this fall.
Dirks
and Dierks Bentley.
Yeah.
It's interesting because for a long time.
I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but I hear we're breaking it here.
Yeah, I guess we're breaking it here.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, you didn't do a lot of collaborations very often. And now you had the success with Priscilla Block. Your most recent #1 platinum record, You Mean Whiskey, and now on this upcoming record, you're going to have 3 collaborations.
Yeah, what's funny is people think we haven't done many because we didn't do like a Hardy thing where it's every song's a
mixtape of everybody.
Right, but we've done a lot. Like I've done 2 or 3 with Hank. I've done 2 or 3 with Brantley. Miranda and I have done one. I mean, we've done we did one with Motley Crue. We did one with Tom Petty. That wasn't a collab, but we've done quite a few really over the years.
Yeah.
Collabs weren't really a thing when we were doing them.
Yeah.
Now they've become like the big.
Like everyone's doing a collaboration.
Yeah, and if you don't. Like the label is asking me, like, we got to have some more collabs. And I'm like, okay, I get whatever. I mean, it's kind of become a thing now, But I'm thrilled to have, obviously, Blake and Blake is Blake Shelton. I mean, we all know how hugely famous he is and all that. But he and I become friends. I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And he might be, I'll say I won't say he's one of the most unaffected superstars I've ever met in my life. Meaning, he is exactly the same the day that I met him as he is today. I mean, which I think says a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Randy and I met probably 20 years ago. Been really good friends for a long time. I have a ton of respect for him. I don't think there's a better singer on the planet
than Randy Houser vocally, yeah.
And I think he's probably one of, if not the most underrated country artist of all time. He's one of the top ones.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. Dierks Bentley, I'll give you an example. Incredible person. Incredible dad.
Yeah.
Incredible husband. Somebody I really look up to for a lot of reasons. On Father's Day, he sent me a video of him with his kids. They were at like a lake or something. And his wife, I guess it was his wife. He sent me a video. Hey man, just want to say happy Father's Day.
Wow.
And he and I probably known each other 10, 12 years. Every single time I told my wife this, and I'm like, I feel like a terrible person because I don't do this, and I should do this. And this shows how much of a pro he is too. So every single time I have a hit record since we met, he sends me a text and goes, man, the song sounds great. You sound amazing. Congrats on another hit. I love the song.
Wow.
Every time for
Seriously?
10, 12 years.
Wow.
That's how good of a dude he is. So I sent him a text. I said, man, I would love to have you on this song. It sounds like you. No is a perfectly acceptable answer. He sends me a message back. I'd be honored to be on it.
Wow.
So he's just a great guy, and they all are.
Yeah.
All 3 of them. So yeah, I'm excited about the album. I think it's a really good album. I think it's the best songwriting I've ever done. Maybe the best singing I've ever done.
Wow.
And can't wait for everybody to hear it.
All right. Well, we have a lot to look forward to this year in your life. Can't wait to see you on tour with Randy. Can't wait to hear the new music, the new album. Thanks so much for taking some time talking to us. Again, Dewey Beach, there's something special about this place, so I'm really glad we got to to do this here with you, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
Thank you as always.
Brother. That's it for Kurt's Country here in Dewey Beach. Thanks for watching. Check us out on News Nation.